I was asked a very reasonable question some time ago. What are the bike paths like away from the beachy suburbs? And it's a good question. I had absolutely no idea, and I didn't know how to find those paths. So I organised to go for a ride with my mate Rob, who would hopefully take me to some new places. And what we're going to do is do part of what is known locally as the Shelley Loop, I think named after the suburb of Shelley. And so that just involved going over the Swan River, going out towards Belmont, getting overtaken a few times, meandering our way through this suburb, and then finally getting to this bridge that takes us over the Great Eastern Highway. We're kind of out towards the airport here, I guess. And what we're going to be doing is following that train. No, not exactly. We'll be alongside it for, I don't know, 8 or 10 kilometres, I guess. Now, I've been out here before. I went over this bridge. I got to this point and I thought, oh, there's no bike facilities here. I'm just going to turn around and go back. But Rob obviously knew where he was going, so I just followed him. And you might have noticed back there, no symbology anywhere, no signage. And this is where we're going. We're just up at the kind of pointy bit of the first arrow there. We've just crossed over Great Eastern Highway, and we're going to take this long trek down along the railway line here, which is, turned out to be mainly bike path all the way, although the first part was on the road. And quiet road, thank goodness, and that bike symbol over there on the right hand side, going the other way, was the first indication that this is some kind of bicycle route. There's certainly nothing back there at the bridge to tell newbies like myself that this is where we should be going, and there was the first one heading in this direction. So as usual in Perth, really poor wayfinding signage, and we're coming up here and suddenly, ooh, jam on the brakes, right hand turn into that again unmarked pathway over there on the right, and it's not until you get onto it that you suddenly see, oh, bike symbols. And you might notice it's, green paint on concrete. They seem to do things two ways here in Perth. You've either got this nice red asphalt or it's green paint on concrete. At least, it's not all totally standardised, but there's kind of two standards. The only problem with following the railway line out here is there's no overbridges or underbridges. It's all just, got to go across these crossings. There are boom gates off to our right here at each crossing, and you'll see a number of them, and that does make getting across easier. Anywhere where there's potential for conflict with pedestrians, lots of green paint and stripy things. Now at this train station we go to pink concrete, bit of a change from red asphalt or grey concrete with green lines for some strange reason, and they just dump you out in the car park. A bit of a head scratcher this one. I thought, oh, is this where the path ends? And Rob was like, no, go away from these parked cars, come racing over here onto the road. Okay, and we're going to get over the road, and you can actually see over on the right hand side there the path has restarted. We're riding along here with cars overtaking, and it's like, Rob, what are we doing over here? And he's like, yeah, let's get back on the path. So we looked around and yep, there was the ramp, and we're back on the path. But as you can see, red asphalt concrete. But if you look ahead, you can see that there's red asphalt up ahead. There's always something up ahead of you telling you this is a bike route and this is where you should be going. So here's another one of these crossings. You can see the boom gates are down on the right. Makes it a lot easier because all the vehicles are pulled up, and we get a clean run across. So there's no need for any pedestrian or cycle signals at these crossings. We come up to another one, and we've done about 8 kilometres on that path so far. Well, obviously wasn't going to show it all of it, that'd be very boring, but we jumped off here and crossed to the other side of the tracks to get to this next bit we're going to. And this is where I really needed a guide, because there's no way in hell I would have ever found my way down to this park that we're going to. A couple little turns here and there, and yes, there's a bit of red asphalt here for us to ride in. You can see how narrow this lane is just by looking at Rob. This is the little jinx that we've done here, left, right kind of thing. And we're heading down into this parkland which goes around this part of the river. And once again, a completely unmarked turn off onto a bike path. Never would have found that. And we got to here, and you can see there's arrows, but there's no signs telling you what's the left and what's the right. And Rob was unsure where we should be going. He'd been out here before, but he was like scratching his head going, right, flip a coin, we're turning left, let's see where this takes us. And we ended up at this kind of educational centre, I guess that's what they call these things these days, for this bit of parkland, which I would call a mosquito-infested swamp, but you know, that's just me. And it turned out to be quite a nice little cafe, and you know, we stopped here and had a coffee, etc., and tried to avoid interacting with any of the wildlife. Yes, that was next to our table. Anyway, notice the collapsible canoe there that those guys are setting up. That was kind of interesting. You know, canoeing is quite a big thing over here, and this is just to show that you can in fact do maintenance work on a bridge without having to close the whole bridge. You can just, you know, lift some panels up and do some work on it and let everyone keep using it. This was a revelation to me, this park. I never knew it existed. Yeah, it's a nice little part of the world. There's lots of tracks like this through it. We kind of got lost. We were trying to find our way from one side of the park to the other, and we ended up going kind of round and round in a circle for a bit, trying to find our way out. But we eventually did find our way out, and oh look, concrete with green paint again. So yeah, it's one thing or the other, except sometimes the green paint just stops like there. That's the last bit of green paint. And you know, it's like, where should I be going? We're supposed to be going over there on the left where there's clearly a path, or we're supposed to be going right? Well, at least there's some bike symbols as we go around the corner here, except that's the last bit of symbology on this path to say it's a bike route. We roll down here and there, let's just run that guy off the road. It's a bit narrow. Oh, pink concrete. Well, okay, that's the third standard, I guess. And again, we're into this kind of foreshore riverland park, but oh look, we're back on pink asphalt. That's nice. And you know, you see here we're not going very fast. We're just rolling along, having a good chat. You know, good catch up. You know, very nice kind of stuff. And there's tons of it. You know, we were out riding for 4 hours, I think, and we did most of that on paths like this. It's absolutely incredible. But just have a look at this path around here. You can see it's a bit chopped up. It's been repaired there on the left, and you can see lots of asphalt snakes, I guess you'd call them, on the path here. I presume that's due to poor foundations perhaps, and the path settling unevenly and cracking up, and they're having to come around and you know, fill in the worst of the cracks. So there's a good lesson there about good foundations, I think. Now this is, we've come up to one of the two bridges. This is a low, old wooden bridge, I think. Bit of a chaotic crossing, to say the least, but you know, we got across unscathed. And you know, once on the other side, this kind of Riverland Park starts again, and I just had to stop and take a bit of video of the canoeists, kayakers, whatever, going by. And there's the old bridge down there that we just came under. We're currently, you see the two bridges on the right hand side, we're in between them, and we're heading up towards Shelley Bridge, and there's Shelley Bridge there, that's the new one, and you can see we're on nice shiny, not shiny, but nice red asphalt. Oh no, we're not, we're back on grey concrete. And the problem with these grey concrete paths is they're just a little bit too narrow, so we did what most people in Perth do if you're an adult, just jump off onto the road, like that bloke coming the other way. Because you know, the roads are generally so quiet and the drivers are so relaxed, who cares? So this is us riding along, having a look at all the very flash real estate that has nice views out over the water over there. Amazing houses around here, and I just thought I'd show you this one coming up. This one was particularly outstanding. Yes, that whole red thing on the corner is a house. I'm looking at going, that's the flippin' Taj Mahal coming up. You know, it's just like, have they got 12 kids or something? I don't know. But yeah, absolute monster. And I think it looked bigger in real life than you know, it did in the video there. This is a really well-used bike route. We were up too late for all the big cycling packs going round and round. But yeah, there were some keen people that went charging past us. Now this was another spot where if Rob hadn't been guiding me, I would have been completely befuddled. He said, right, get off the road, jump over here onto the path. You know, no signage, no symbology, no nothing, no hints whatsoever that we needed to get over here until we're on the path, and it's like, oh yeah, it's a bike path. You know what? Another one of these well-hidden paths. And again, yep, jump off here. We're turning right onto this rather crummy, narrow concrete path. And yes, it is a bike path or a mixed-use path. But yes, get off it as soon as humanly possible, and back onto the road. And that's the Mount Henry Bridge ahead of us. I've ridden over that probably about 20 times so far, and popped out at this little mobile cafe here on the left-hand side. And this is just part of my regular route, loop to Fremantle now. And I thought I'd show you the rear view if you wanted to see what the bridge looked like, but unfortunately I rode through a puddle, and yeah, that's not the best. Anyway, so that's the loop we did, and yes, I got to say, areas outside the western suburbs of Perth, which is the nice expensive ones near the beach, do have fantastic bike paths. And I have in fact gone further southeast today, and I'll do another video on that showing just how far that path goes. So yes, there is an amazing network of paths all over the place, not just in the I guess the liberal voting suburbs towards the beach.